Pull out your phone right now. Open Maps. Type in an address. You probably cannot even get to the other side of your own city without it. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Your ancestors navigated hundreds of miles of unmapped wilderness, at night, in silence, without a single device. And they did it like it was nothing. That is just the beginning. Because the list of things your ancestors could do that you have completely lost the ability to do is longer and more embarrassing than you think. Let's go through it. Number 1. Navigation without technology. Prehistoric humans were likely expert wayfinders. Groups like the Ache in eastern Paraguay and the Kung in the Kalahari Desert think nothing of walking dozens of miles to exchange stories and news with neighboring groups. But here is the one that should stop you cold. The Hiwi people of Venezuela have been known to walk 60 miles through day and night to visit a neighboring village, and then walk back again just a couple of hours later. 60 miles, on foot, through wilderness, with no phone, no map, no GPS. Just their eyes, the stars, and a mental map built over a lifetime of paying attention. Memory for routes, signs, topography, places, and names of places was not optional. It was essential for survival. Today, most people cannot navigate 3 blocks from their house without their phone dying and panicking. Your ancestors would find that genuinely embarrassing. Number 2, reading nature like a book. Your ancestors did not need a weather app. They looked at the sky and knew. They looked at the behavior of animals and knew. They touched the soil and knew whether rain was coming. They could identify hundreds of plants by sight. Which ones healed? Which ones killed? Which ones could be eaten raw? To our ancient ancestors, we would appear as helpless as babies if suddenly placed in the middle of a forest and forced to fend for ourselves. Think about that. A baby. That is how helpless modern humans are in the environment that our species evolved in for millions of years. Your ancestors walked into a forest and saw a grocery store, a pharmacy, and a weather station. You walk into a forest and look for the Wi-Fi signal. Number 3, physical endurance that modern science cannot fully explain. Your body was literally built to run for hours, without stopping, not sprinting, running at a steady pace for so long that prey animals collapse from exhaustion before the hunter does. No primates other than humans are capable of endurance running. Anatomical features that directly contributed to endurance running capabilities were heavily selected for within the genus Homo dating back to 1.9 million years ago. Your legs, your arches, your ability to sweat, your upright posture, your Achilles tendon. Every single one of these features exists because your ancestors ran prey to death across open plains for hours in bare feet. In the heat, the average modern human cannot run for 20 minutes without stopping. The average ancient human could run for 6 hours. The body has not changed. Only the habits have. Number 4, memory that would make modern people look intellectually disabled by comparison. Before writing existed, everything lived in the human mind. Every plant, every animal track, every face, every story, every route, every warning, every lesson. Generation after generation passed entire encyclopedias of knowledge from mouth to ear. Perfectly. Native Americans before European colonization were known to have an extraordinary memory for landmarks. Aboriginal Australians used something called songlines, complex musical routes that encoded the entire geography of a continent into song. A navigator could travel thousands of miles through completely unfamiliar territory by remembering a song. The song described every waterhole, every landmark, every danger, every food source, in sequence, in precise detail. And it was memorized perfectly by everyone. Today, the average person cannot remember 7 phone numbers. We cannot remember what we had for dinner 3 days ago. We outsource our memory to devices. And every time we do, our brains get a little bit worse at the thing they were built to do. Number 5, making tools from nothing. Pick up a rock. Now, make a knife sharp enough to skin an animal. You cannot do it. Not because it is impossible, but because nobody taught you. Stone tool making is an ancient human skill thought to have played a key role in the evolution that produced modern brains, culture, and cognition. Your ancestors could look at a landscape and identify which rocks were the right type for tools. They could strike a flint at a specific angle with a specific force and produce a blade sharper than most modern kitchen knives. They could make rope from plant fibers. They could build shelter from branches, leaves, and mud that would keep a family warm through a winter. They could start a fire with 2 sticks and dry grass in under 2 minutes. Most modern people cannot start a fire with a lighter and dry wood in under 10. Every skill was passed down, practiced daily, perfected over generations. And then modernity came. And in 2 generations, most of it was gone. Number 6. Sleeping the way your body was actually designed to sleep. Before electric light, your ancestors did not sleep the way you do. They slept in 2 separate phases. First, sleep 4 hours after sunset. Then, a 1 to 2 hour waking period in the middle of the night. Then, second sleep until dawn. During that middle of the night waking period, they reflected, they talked, they planned, they processed their dreams. Their brains were producing elevated levels of prolactin, the same hormone associated with deep meditation, a state of consciousness that most modern humans have never once experienced in their entire lives. We replaced it with a single block of disrupted sleep and an alarm clock, and we called it progress. Number 7. Knowing every person in their world deeply. Your ancestors lived in groups of roughly 150 people. That number is not an accident. British anthropologist Robin Dunbar discovered that the size of the human neocortex limits the number of meaningful social relationships a human can maintain to approximately 150. It is called Dunbar's number. And for hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived inside exactly that limit. Everyone knew everyone. Every child was raised by the whole group. Every elder was cared for by the whole group. Every skill was shared. Every loss was felt by everyone. Friends were a survival asset. If you ran out of food, you knew where to go. If you needed help on a hunt, you knew whom to ask. Today, the average person has hundreds or thousands of social media connections and almost no one they could call at 3 inches the morning if something went wrong. We gained followers. We lost community. So here is what all of this comes down to. Your ancestors were not primitive. They were not less intelligent. They were not inferior to you in any meaningful way. The basic structure of the human brain has remained essentially unaltered for tens of thousands of years, but the information processed within it has changed dramatically. You traded navigation for GPS. You traded memory for smartphones. You traded endurance for cars. You traded community for social media. You traded deep sleep for screens. You traded toolmaking for Amazon Prime. Every single trade felt like progress in the moment, and maybe it was. But somewhere in all those trades, you lost something that took millions of years to build, something that no app can replace, something your ancestors carried in their hands, their feet, their lungs, and their minds, every single day, without thinking twice. The question is not whether they could do things you cannot. They obviously could. The question is, does any part of you want to remember what you were built to do?